So the U.S. Embassy is about an hour, 55 minutes from the big airport in Israel, Ben Gurion. So we said, okay, what about security? Now, at this time, the Israeli government, the prime minister included, were attacking me in this show. Netanyahu suggested I was a Nazi, for example. And so we thought, how about security? Obviously. Not because the Israeli government necessarily would do something bad, because there are a lot of people in Israel who think, because they've been told, that I'm an antisemite or a Nazi or want to kill Jews. It's kind of crazy overstatement. All untrue, obviously, but it would be good to have security. And I should say, having done interviews on 6 out of 7 continents over 35 years, I'm not very security conscious at all. Never really feel uncomfortable, but this seemed like a prudent thing to do.
Did you say this happened in Bethlehem?
It happened in Shepherd's Field. So it's a Christian village. Bet Sahur, I think is its name. Right outside Bethlehem.
If it's in Bethlehem.
It's not in Bethlehem. I think it's Bet Sahur, I believe is the name of the village.
Because there are no Israelis in Bethlehem. None. There are no Jews in Bethlehem.
Are there new settlements outside Bethlehem where he is from?
Over in Area C, but not in Area A. There are none.
Well, he describes the town he grew up in, and I guess I wonder why a Christian whose family's been there for 2,000 years.
There are Palestinian Christians throughout Judea and Samaria. That's true. I've been over to visit them. I go there regularly.
I know you have, and some have been,
we've advocated for some that are Muslim, but they're American citizens in Israel proper.
Okay.
They're 184,000. Now, I'll tell you where Christians are not doing very well. They're not doing very well in the Muslim-controlled countries. There's almost no Christians in Qatar, for example, except those who live in the Christian ghetto, who are the service workers.
I'm sorry. Look, I don't want to argue with you. There are many more Christians in Qatar than there are in Israel.
That's not true.
It actually is true. And I refer you to Wikipedia, Mr. Ambassador.
Wikipedia.
I refer you to the government of Qatar, the government of Israel. These are knowable facts. I'm
in Jordan,
by the way,
numbers are down. In Syria, the numbers are down. In Lebanon, the numbers are down. I'm just telling you that
about twice as many Christians.
But they live in the enclave. They are not native Qataris.
Okay, we're mixing so many different categories here. I'm just saying I get things wrong all the time. You've just gotten something wrong, and I think it's important to acknowledge it. There are many more Christians in Qatar than there are in Israel. Fact.
How many?
Now you caught me. I don't know. I can look at my phone, but I was just there, and there are many more. Whatever.
How many times have we put soldiers on the ground for Israel?
Well, we had the Iraq War, which was for Israel.
No, it wasn't for Israel.
How was it for us?
Well, because it was a retribution against 9/11. Now, was it the best idea?
Was Iraq involved in 9/11?
Our government thought so.
Why are 9/11 documents still classified?
I have no idea.
Should they be unclassified?
I think so.
All of them, right?
I have no problem with that.
Me too. Well, Benjamin Netanyahu, now prime minister, of course, exerted lots of pressure openly on the U.S. government to regime change the Saddam government. I was there. It was in Washington. And they complied. I don't think there's any way to read it.
Do you think Israel leads the U.S. and pushes them and tells them what to do?
Well, not on everything, of course.
Do you think? Let
me be specific.
Okay.
I think the Israeli government strongly pushed the United States to take out Saddam Hussein. Well, there's no question about that. So the current prime minister's ancestors weren't from here within recorded history. He has no deed. Bibi Netanyahu, on one side, his family's from Poland. They're from Eastern Europe. So how do we know that he has a connection to the people who God promised the land to, Abraham's descendants? How do we know that?
Well, if you take the genealogies that come not only from the Old but the New Testament, you see that there is a historical connection through the entirety of the Old and the New Testament that details the Jewish connection to this land.
Does that include Bibi's family? How do we know that if his family comes here?
Scattered,
but how do we know it's the same people? Why is that crazy? If you say to me,
if they speak the same language, if they worship the same God, if they follow the same Bible, if they follow the same cultures and traditions, and they always pray next year in Jerusalem, and they pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and they pray facing toward Jerusalem, does that not give you a little bit of a clue as to who they are? I wish that none of those people in Gaza had been killed after October the 8th. Well, I say not none of them. I'm glad Mohammed Sinwar was killed. I'm glad that some of those warriors, the people who masterminded and carried out the atrocities of October 7th.
14-year-old Hamas operatives, how do you feel about their deaths?
If they participated in that, then God help them. I'm telling you,
What does
Tucker,
that mean, God
I
help
don't
it?
know
Are
that
you happy
they were
that-
14 years. No, but I'm telling you that when someone commits the acts of atrocity and then they hold hostages, if these were your children being held hostage in Gaza, what would you do to get them out?
I wouldn't want to kill 14-year-olds. I'll tell you that.
Let me ask you something. Would you do whatever it took to get your kids back if they were being tortured, raped,
I
starved,
would
and
not
beaten?
kill children, period.
Well, I'm just telling you.
And I
that
would
you
never make
do-
excuses for killing
but you
children
wouldn't-
either.
And I'm not talking about targeting children. I'm talking
You
about.
told me that 14-year-olds deserve to die because they were working for Hamas.
I'm telling
And
you.
my question is, can you hear yourself?
I do hear myself.
How many journalists has Israel killed in Gaza?
I don't know.
Over 200. That seems like
Now,
a
are
lot.
they real journalists? Because a lot of those people that were supposedly journalists were actually Hamas fighters that are documented Hamas fighters. So that's why I ask you, how many are actual journalists?
You know, I don't know, but a lot of them were. I mean, they worked for big news organizations and they had press written on their chest.
Yeah, some of them had UNRWA cars and they were also working for Hamas.
So are
Hamas
you
is
concerned? So
infil-
do you think that over 200 journalists killed in Gaza are all fake journalists who deserve to be
I have
killed?
no idea how many the total number is. I don't have their credentials, but I know that there were quite a few that were actually Hamas fighters that protected Hamas. Ask the hostages. The hostages came back and they started telling about the number of people that were doctors in hospitals that held them hostage in their homes, or the number of people who were pretending to be journalists who were actually holding them hostage.
As someone
I'm
who
just telling you that there's a lot.